All right, let's just jump right into this. We're in a good space.
I'm loving this.
We're in a good space.
All right, here we go. All right, set it off.
I've never seen you smoke weed before.
Only with
Well, there it is.
There it is.
This is all right. We got bridges being gapped today. You know what I'm saying? All right, so
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're all good. All right.
Oh, great.
DJs and Not Jukeboxes podcast. We are back. This is the holiday episode. Hit me with it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Mr. Beard Butter, Sam, let's go around the room. Let's introduce DANJ team first.
This is Artist, aka your favorite samples. But I'm still fresh.
DJ True.
Big ones.
Yeah. Once again, my name is Sam. First off, big ups to everybody that's been supporting us. Everybody that's been hitting that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys. Apple, iTunes, Android, all that stuff. Today is a very important episode. Like I said, it's the holiday episode. It's the day after Christmas here at the Shoebox. DANJ headquarters, DJs and Not Jukeboxes. And we brought gifts. We got gifts for y'all, man. We got real Christmas gifts for y'all. Like I said, we're feeling jolly in this motherfucker. I feel good. You know what I'm saying? The beard's feeling nice and fluffy. My man Big Ones is looking fresh with the beard too. So we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, two individuals in this game that need no intro. And for a fantastic show today, we're talking about paying dues in this game. And it started essentially at the DJ meetup that happened earlier in the month, I believe it was.
In Chicago.
Yes, in Chicago. Shout out to Dante Don. He used to put those together for a while. It had been a little while since one got put together. This was a really, really dope one. It was nice to see a lot of people outside of the usual faces that were there. And there was a lot of good conversation that was sparked, including one of our special guests tonight. So, whichever one of you gentlemen wants to introduce yourselves first.
What's going on? My name is Christian. Everyone knows me as DJ Metro from Chicago.
Yeah. There you go. And that's a very modest
What are your
intro. Talk about your accolades a little bit.
All right. I am a DJ on B96.3. I'm a DJ on Pitbull's Globalization as of this month.
Yeah.
Was that a small sports team that you're playing for?
One day I'm the DJ for the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago White Sox. The one of four. Shout out to my squad.
Right.
Flipside, Marquee, and J Funk.
Yes. And our other guest, this is dope. This is just a dope ass show today. Let's go.
My name is Trenton, also known as Trentino. Most people probably know me as a Redbull Thre3style US Champion. Also drummer, music producer,
live performer,
climber, snowboarder, etc.
Skater, white people, extremist sports guy of the year, man of the year.
That's amazing. So you're in town. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for coming by as well. We appreciate both of y'all. Metro and Trentino in the building officially.
Yep.
It's Christmas, man. You know what I'm saying? We're feeling good. So we're talking about paying dues today. So you guys obviously have paid many a dues in this. Two people that I've been very familiar with for a long time. I've been able to be friends with now for a few years. DJs that I definitely take notes from. DJs that I definitely look up to as far as your movement, how you guys move, because you guys are very individualistic. I don't even know if that's a word, but you guys are individual.
I think it's a word.
No, fuck it, I made it a word. It's Christmas. Whatever. Santa dropped me a gem. It's cool.
DJs are not dictionaries.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not an encyclopedia. But let's start with Metro. You're right to my left. So let's talk a little bit about just the importance of paying dues.
How long you been give a quick background of how you started and how long you've been doing it for, right?
So I started off professionally DJing. I say that as when I started making money, the moment that I started making any dollars.
So your first check.
Yes.
All right.
When I was 15 years old. That started off DJing in Humboldt Park. I had partners, DJ Extreme, DJ Ray, DJ Neurotic, DJ, these were guys that I grew up with in the neighborhood and we look up to guys like DJ Quick and Pump Boy Lee and DJ Toon. Like, we looked up to some of the more street guys that were above us doing the things under the more bigger guys. So I started off, you know, trying to make my own parties happen with those guys at 15. And then slowly but surely I got into like the #1 Latin club, which was Mambo Cafe at the time. And a great mentor of mine named Manny took me under his wing. He's a graphic designer. Like, this man wears many hats that a lot of people know in the Chicago industry. But he ran this night, and I peeped the game from a very young age. I mean, very young. Like, how much money was coming in through the door, you know.
And at that time, the money was a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, these kids were paying $20, $25 to get in every Friday. 900 kids, you know, everybody paid. This was not that guest list stuff. There was 20 people probably getting let in for free.
Wait, and this is a club, or this is a...
This was now a club.
This is an 18 and over?
This is an 18 and over club, and I'm like 15,
I was going to say, let's
old.
not talk about the fact that you were 15 years old.
Yeah, I don't want to...
Yeah, right.
I was still like...
They're not around anymore.
Nah,
it's all good. I can't be alive. It's all good.
Does your mom know this was happening?
My mom knows. So the deal... So, like, my cousin... I had 2 cousins. I was fortunate enough to have 2 of them. I had DJ Method, who was a house DJ.
Yeah.
And, of course, you know, like, I was a house DJ. Like, all of my records, a lot of my records were house records prior to Timbaland and Magoo, because I didn't listen to hip-hop at all until then.
Right?
Yeah, but it was like, that's just where I landed, like, with music. So I had him, and then I had DJ Nonstop.
Yeah.
Huge influence to me.
Nonstop.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Nonstop. I had him as a big influence, and I was able to just watch and observe. You know, he was mad busy, and he had a family young, so like myself, and you know, he wasn't always accessible. So what I got to see, I just got to learn. I just got to learn from what I saw from him. So, you know, in a sense, not even so much trying to fill shoes of guys like that, both my cousins, but you know, peeping game so hard.
Yeah,
it was like it's part of the paying dude thing. You know, yeah. And just getting anybody to, you know, acknowledge what you're doing is part of the paying dude thing to me.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah. What was the other question?
Well, just like
where I started.
Yeah, kind of like your version of how you started to pay dues within that whole process.
It's a funny conversation that I never feel like an individual is essentially done paying dues. I feel like I set these goals in my life at a young age. Like, I always wanted to be on the radio. I always wanted to be the Bulls DJ. Like, I always talked about this from the time that I got on the radio. I was like, do the Chicago Bulls have a DJ? Yeah. You know, when Irie was starting to really pop, I mean, that dude was seriously like the team's mascot when that whole process was happening. And I would always be on top of it because Eric Bradley, the boss of B96, he played the buttons that made the dun dun dun. So we already had an in, and we would already.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we already had like a plug, and we would always be like, "What's up with the Bulls, man? What's up with the Bulls? What's up with the Bulls?" And finally, you know, through the stars aligned, they got the Bulls, got a new boss, and you know, all of that happened through just that.
Wow.
Crazy.
Going back to the question, sorry.
No, that's it. I mean, that's basically it. That's basically what we're asking. Like, you're like, what have you done to essentially pay dues?
Again, I feel like the motions of paying dues is never done. I feel like that it's funny. I always get funny about it, and people will be like, "Yo, you're playing modest," but like, it's just think about it, man. Like, you reach a certain point where no matter what, you're always going to need to reach out to people if you need things. And I don't ever think you're done paying dues, because you're gonna have to show some way, somehow, someday, you're gonna ask someone who's higher up than you for a thing.
Facts.
Sure.
You're gonna ask someone who's at a point that you're trying to achieve for a thing.
Yep.
And they're gonna have to look at you to see what you're doing, to see if you're either worthy enough, or like if
They don't need to take a chance on you.
Right.
Right.
right. And when you get that chance, you're hopefully you achieve their level, and then someone else somewhere, some way, you're gonna have to ask someone higher for some. You're never done. You're gonna have to work harder for the next big person to recognize what you're doing and recognize how hard you're working through the process for you to become next level. It's just something that I feel.
Definitely, and we'll definitely go more in detail about the continuance of paying dues, like how like how that never stops. I want to talk to Trentino a little bit about how you kind of got started with your whole career.
Yeah, so I think the big thing with me that sort of sets me apart from most DJs is like my traditional musician background.
Yep.
So I started with the drums and percussion at like age 10, school band program, private lessons, all that. Got turntables and drum machines and samplers all around like age 14. So started DJing and producing at that time. And then I went to college for music, majored in jazz studies on drum set. And it wasn't really until after that, when I came back to Chicago, that I started playing clubs. And then that didn't even really get going until about 2010. So, I think you see a lot of people now, like, they start DJing, and as soon as they can, like, put a set together, they're starting to play out, or they're trying to at least. For me, it was, like, 8 to 10 years before I even tried to, like, play clubs or anything. So a lot of people had this attitude of, like, where did this dude come from? Like, because I knew what I was doing, I just hadn't played anywhere. And, like, that's, like, shocking to people.
You had a lot of production accolades already. When I came across your name, you had, you were already kind of taking that hybrid of both already at that point, which was really, really dope.
Yeah, I mean, I've always done all three.
It was
I've always
natural for
been
you,
drumming,
right.
DJing, and producing, like, since I was 14.
Which is dope, because, I mean, those play such a huge hand-in-hand together, especially, at the level that you're at now, which we'll get into as well, but...
Yeah, I mean, we can get more more into that, because I think things are changing a lot, and it's been pretty interesting.
We'll definitely go there. And, when I came across you, personally, I was seeing, people that were trying to do that. Like, people were like, how can I make DJing different? Serato had already been a huge part of this already. Everybody had kind of had their entire vision of what DJing is now. So there were a lot of people like, what can I do? Maybe as like, I felt a lot of people were doing it as a gimmick. And then there's people like yourself that you just kind of stand out. That's just like, oh shit, this dude's just like natural. So when you read your bio, it's like, oh yeah, well it's obvious he's a musician. I come from a musical background as well. So the technicality's there, but then there's like style behind it, which is rare. So when you find that combination, and again, you're naturally a drummer, you're naturally a producer. So that mentality as a DJ is what your sets showed. When you were very specific, let's say for Thre3style or whatever it was, like that set is classic. People still watch that shit, and they're just like, yo, I still watch that shit.
Yeah, I think up until that point, there was a certain like musicality to your set that like no one really hit. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't get, like, when they ask me how to like put together a set like that, but then some of these people don't have the basic tools. They don't have basic music theory, and they don't have the ear, and they don't understand.
Bars half the time.
So it's like, I don't know what to tell those people other than like, you need to like take some basic music theory and like piano classes and like figure out music, and then the rest of it's easy. Like, you'll figure out the rest, but you have to understand music and hear it. Understand
structure. You just gotta understand certain stuff, and there's people that just get it naturally. And, there's people that really take the time to learn it. And it's like equipment wise, I don't care what people use as far as what they're doing on equipment. If they know how to rock, they know how to rock, and that's just what it comes down to for me. So let's let's go back to Metro a little and let's talk about, you know, how paying dues and where that started for you and kind of how that's transitioned. Because, you know, you said, you know, you started off when you were 15, which is, you know, really, really dope.
Right.
Make some noise for that shit. Being 15 and coming up already.
I think at a certain, so like when I really wanted to, I remember when my cousin became a heavy hitter and I was like, I really started, he was my biggest influence. So I really started to look at other DJs, like what I wanted to become as a DJ, who, you know, what I was going to be. Was I going to be, you know, this, that? I don't know. Scratch DJ? Was I going to be...
Let me just say really quick, Nonstop to me was the first DJ that I'd heard, like when I was coming up, a lot of like the hip-hop DJing, quote-unquote, that I had heard was like New York style. So it was like barely any mixing, it was all hot mixing, like baby scratch into the next song. Nonstop was the first dude I'd ever heard from Chicago that was crazy on the cut, but also blended like a house DJ.
Yeah.
Which is a Chicago thing.
Yeah.
Sure. Blending is...
But still, at that point, like, I mean, I'm talking like, I mean, my God, how long has he been on the radio?
Oh my God.
15 years at least?
Oh, at least. I mean, he was on B96 for like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, he was on GCI.
Yeah, maybe it was on, it must have been on B96 when I heard him, because I was mad young.
Yeah, he started off on KISS and then got on B96 and then up on GCI.
But I remember specifically hearing him.
I mean, let's not forget DMX's DJ.
Well,
that's a whole...
I think I was just in the process of like I loved his style, but like Kid Capri's like my favorite like rocker of all time. Yeah. Just because of how OG he is at that.
He has the best mic game of all time. Also.
Yeah, easily. And then like, you know, West Coast dudes, of course, you know, the Q-Birds and you got the guys from the Bay and then the guys from LA, the Beat Junkies.
Yeah.
Like I like watched tapes of those guys. And then I think at one point I was like serious about like, I want to be a DJ on the radio. Like I don't just want to be a mixer on the radio. I want to have my own show at one point. So it started with just the natural progression of asking people what it takes and like, okay, but I get it. You can be super, super hot over here, but you might not be super great for the radio. What did it take to learn that? I went to college. I went to ICB. You know, I got an internship at B96. I brought Rihanna her waters. I brought Flow Rider.
Talk that talk. Let them know.
Flow Rider his towels. I brought, what was her name? Selena Gomez needed candles. We brought her candles.
Nice.
To the jingle thing. To the jingle thing we did. I did that stuff, bro. And it's just, when you want something so bad enough,
you don't care.
You're just gonna work for it.
Was that always your, not, I don't want to say end goal, but was that like the first big thing where you're like, I want to be on the radio versus I want to play clubs versus like I want to do shows?
Yeah.
You were like, I want to be on the radio.
Yeah, like
first major.
I always knew like
that was the goal.
I can end up on the radio the way that everyone else was doing it.
Okay.
And then I just needed to find, because what I was doing was I was sounding exactly like my cousin. So I needed to find other ways of mixing.
Right.
So
what about for you? Your goal wasn't to be on the radio. Like, what was the first?
No, yeah, that was never really something I thought about.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it was just, I was always doing all three, and I just wanted to, like, make a living playing music. I mean, I really thought, for a long time I was more focused on drum set, and I thought that was going to become something. Even when I was out of college, I was in a band for the first year, like, touring around the Midwest. But then DJing was just more lucrative, like, in the short term, for sure. So, like, it just kind of fell into that.
And then I think out of making a living with it, I think the essential where that started was like, DJ Gordo is one of my best friends, and he's my first boss ever. I don't know if you guys remember Hip House Records in Bricktown.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. When they decided to close, Gordo and his brother bought that entire franchise and moved it to Grand in Harlem. and I got a work permit from school, and Manny,
Nice.
LL
That's
Manny,
dope.
LL Manny was making his design for the whole new record store, and was like, I know the owner of Hip House now. I think we can get you a job. Gordo knew who I was because I was already playing
Okay.
at the club. I was 16 years old. 15? 16 years. No, I was 15 because this fool used to let me drive his car home around a permit. I'd be like, okay. I'd be like, all right. But he let me drive his car home to go get like my mixer or anything that I'd be like, let's practice. And so Gordo was my first boss ever. And again, it was just a thing of like, he's not the type of guy that hold your hand and sit you down and talk you through it. You're just going to have to experience it. And what I was experiencing was he was making a good living off of nightlife. And I was like, how? I was only playing at one club, and, you know, that's how I experienced. I guess that was my first experience in, like, paying dues and learning how to make a living off of DJing and nightlife. Like, you know, it was a big eye-opener, too, because...
You had good role models, like...
Yeah, because how I wanted to play on the radio was not how these dudes were playing in the club. It was totally different.
Right.
Like, you're not putting on a clinic here in the club like that. You're gonna put on a clinic for the people. They want a party. That's what they're here for.
Right.
And Gordo was the first guy to put me up on game on national party rockers, Vice, AM, Spider, like the guys that were killing it at the time.
Yeah.
He was the guy that was like, you need to look this up. You need to know these guys. You need to Crooklyn Clan. You need to see, like, it. You know, that was my first taste in that.
Oh.
Yeah.
More about you. That's a good point. I want to talk about kind of learning the ropes, and you know, there's so many layers to this, and you know, so many people now. I think it's unfortunate that, you know, the way that people kind of come into this whole thing with, you know, we talked about like the cereal box DJ where you could just kind of get a whole setup now. And, like, you know, just like I could look it up on YouTube how to plug it all in.
Right.
And as long as I get some sound out, I'm mixing. Like, I'm doing my thing. Like, you know, like we've talked about the difference, you know, between building a crate as a DJ and just playlists, and how people, you know, consider that the same thing. So, you know, at that time it was still different. So, you know, that learning the ropes thing is important. So how, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I came at it sort of backwards, just because I spent so much time just like learning and practicing, and like I wasn't really focused on playing parties at all, like really until like after college.
Because you said you spent how much time before you actually played your first party? It was like 8 years, you said, or?
Yeah, I mean, I played a few things here and there. Like in high school, I produced a whole hip hop album with my buddy, and we played a bunch of shows. I was doing stuff like that, but yeah, I wasn't playing parties like on any sort of regular basis until like really like 2009 or something.
So let me kind of just ping pong off that. Is that because you felt you needed to get yourself to a certain level before you go do that, or was that like an internal thing, or was that just people around you like? Not yet.
No. I was just focused on other things.
Gotcha.
It was never like, that was never my.
You're just being
like,
a nerd with
goal.
Music, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I was just practicing. Like, I think with DJing, like, I always came from the turntablist background. It wasn't like my intention. My intention wasn't to play parties. That was just something that I figured out that I could do also. And like, you know, obviously make a living doing that. So I don't know. I sort of came at it backwards and like started playing downtown. I think when I was like I started playing downtown like late 2009, early 2010, and like I didn't really know like how to read the crowd, or more importantly, like read the manager, figure out how to make everyone happy. I was kind of on my own thing, like I knew the music I liked, and that was also when I started getting heavily into dance music. So I was like playing a lot of dance music when it was probably not the right thing to do. And so I was kind of learning on the fly, I guess.
It's very important because Trenton Trentino and I started learning those ropes like right at the exact time. I feel like, you know, we got tossed in the lion's den sometimes, and it didn't work out in our benefit. More than a handful of times for me, like more than a handful of times, just not knowing, just, you know, where we're so ready for one thing, we're not ready for the other.
Right.
You know, we weren't, you know, it was almost like you had to, again, why I say you're never done paying your dues. It's just another thing you gotta learn. You're in this club, 900 people. No one wants to see all of that jibba jabba for that long. You're gonna have to learn, like you're saying, the ropes of reading this, reading that. You know, figuring out when it's appropriate, you know?
Yeah, and especially now that I've played so many different clubs in so many different cities and countries, like, being able to walk in...
Quick flex.
No, I mean,
Keep it real, man.
Yeah,
Keep it real.
for
Fuck
sure.
that.
But yeah, no, I mean, you walk in 10 minutes before you go on, and you gotta figure out what you're supposed to do, like, what they're expecting you to do. And no one's gonna tell you, because they think you know, or they think that they booked you for one thing and you're gonna do that thing and you don't, but I don't know what that thing is.
Right.
I don't know why they booked me.
Yes.
So I know I've had a lot of moments like with the whole, you know, paying dues in my own world, and you kind of go through those times, you know, in the career where you realize it later. You have an incident that stands out to you and you're just like, oh fuck, that's definitely part of this game now. Like I'm all right, I'm in that level, like, you know, respectively, you know, both of you guys, like, when was it, you know, when did you have your first kind of moment where you were like, okay, I know I've been learning about this, now I'm taking it a little more serious, I'm, you know, I'm more conscious about getting booked. When did you kind of have that first moment of, oh shit, like, you know, talking about adapting maybe, or like having that, you know, certain vision, and now like this gets dropped on you and you're like, oh shit, this is part of the game, like I gotta maybe start thinking a little different, or, you know, what was that moment that maybe stands out to you?
I don't know if there's any one moment. It's so many things. It's like I mean, even now, trying to figure out like what
was your
is
first
that
mental
people
shift, maybe, like, you
want
know,
from
like
me.
from your first goal to like saying, okay, now I got a better grasp on this. Now what's the next step? You know,
Now
what I
let's
mean?
jump at 3-style.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, but maybe use that as an example. Like, what took you from, you know, being I just want to do this music shit and learn it, you know, and be a drummer and learn this DJing thing, to, okay, I could do this now, I'm doing it differently. How do I apply this to the national and bigger level now?
I mean, I knew I was gonna do music for a living from the time I was like 15.
Okay.
Because I mean, that was basically when I started looking at colleges, and it was like, well, what am I gonna go to college for?
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go for music, obviously, so
Gotcha.
I'm obviously gonna go into a career in music. So it was always like, I always had that long-term goal of making a living, so everything sort of was directed toward that since then. But I don't know, but I feel like it's a constant evolution, because the whole scene is always changing, always evolving. Clubs don't even exist for more than a couple of years. It's constant. So I don't know if there's like one moment that I can recall. I mean, just because it's always changing.
And you've just been adapting with it.
Agreed. I would say, like, for me, like, whereas to him it's always been, he's going to be music driven and like music. I can say the same thing about just DJing, like just wanting somehow, some way, DJing is going to be the end all be all resort for me. I don't know how. Don't ask me how, but it's what I'm really, really talented at. I still find new ways to conform. Sometimes I still blow my own mind when I'm practicing. I know you guys do it to yourselves too. It's just passion for
not anymore. Not
yeah,
anymore.
right. it's your passion for DJing, and I think the first, adapt thing for me, because I had I took on a family young man, is, learning the game of, like, wanting to get put on with money and, like, the financial of it, the shit end of it, the shit end of being a DJ who is not a producer and is not going to, do sound design for the Transformers movie like Trenton can. You know, that's not what I'm built for. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why I have results like I want to have my own radio show. You know what I mean? Like, it's always around DJing, but you know, so for me, one of the big eye openers for adapting was like, yo, you're not gonna come in here making demands on what you want to make as a DJ when no one's heard of you. We don't care about what you've been doing. We don't care about the market that you've been knowing about. This isn't that. And, you know, you're either gonna adapt to having the opportunity to play somewhere or not having the opportunity to play anywhere and making no money. You know, learn to adapt to that real quick or don't adapt to it at all. You know, so that was just a big, you know, because like Trenton said, it's used to be so different. Just think about it. You know, DJs would be like, no, where I come from, like the standard was $100 an hour. Like you don't ever get below $100 an hour. You know, opening DJs got $100 an hour. Everyone got $100 an hour where I came from. You know, playing in Humble Park and the Latin parties. And, you know, when I wanted to start playing in a different market, it was like, you're going to work 4 hours, 4.5 hours for $200, $250, or you're just not going to do it.
But really quick, did that coincide with the time that Serato came out? Because you were like, I don't want to say the last generation, but you started before digital.
Right.
You bought records. I know you got records.
Yeah, I have.
And when you first started playing, though, you were playing on records. You weren't playing on Serato wasn't out yet.
No.
So when you said, like, when you're trying to break into these other markets and the pay went down, was that around the time that Serato had come out? Or because here's what I'm getting at. It's like, if you were a DJ 10 years ago,
yeah,
you had to spend, you know, thousands of dollars on gear and on your music, obviously, to play out. But then around that time is when digital shit started coming through.
Yeah, I would say so. It was either that because I was gonna say it was around the time that everybody was a DJ, but right. You know, it must have been the digital trend, and you know, it's not. It was just something that even right now, at this very moment, I'm still having a tough time getting the demands that I want.
Right.
And I just feel like no matter what I do, you know,
yes,
there's going to be the shit end of the job of constantly changing things. Like, you know.
You guys think it's difficult to find your like voice while coming up with dealing with those challenges?
I mean, I think,
or is that something you kind of just have to like?
I think as a working nightclub DJ, you don't want to have your own voice, at least like musically, because we're all playing the same records.
Right.
If you're not playing the same records, you're not doing the job right, because there's just no option. I mean, so like your voice, it really comes down to everything else. It comes down to your look, your personality, your marketing, and all that. Which also, like, I feel like there's maybe more creativity on that end even, but also that sort of has to fit in within the realm of what people think is cool or whatever.
Right. Because, you know, I've had this conversation with my wife. You know, for those of you who don't know, I'm married, 2 children. You know what I'm saying? Straight adulting, but you know, it just goes into what Trent is saying is like, think about how much harder it is to not be the DJ who is single, you know, splashing champagne all over bitches. My guest list does not consist of 2 birthday parties, you know, filled with bitches. My birthday parties are like, yo, my boss from the White Sox wants to bring his employees out.
He's 50 years old.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah, he's 38, but whatever. You know, they're much, you know, and the people who do want to come see, if there are any people who want to come see me play, it's people who want to come see me play. You know what I'm saying? It's not people who are gonna come twerk in the DJ booth with me because that shit ain't gonna fly. So it goes back to like, yo, it's very hard to be one of those guys. Everyone is one of those guys at this point. You know, social media will allow you to be anybody that you want to be.
Excellent point.
I think,
very.
I think that's a good point. I mean, you know, one of the things talking about too is building your brand. You know, that's another thing. You know, within all of this, you know, the part of paying dues, you know, and then, you know, coming to that, you know, point where you're talking about, you know, marketing, you know, you Trent mentioned it, you know, your look, you know, there's a certain thing that becomes a standard, unfortunately.
Imagine if we brought one of those dudes to this podcast and we asked them, what does it take to pay dues? Well, you gotta pay, you know, the social media bots to up your followers 10K.
I'm saying, you know, the first thing you gotta do is buy followers.
And then get that, you know, get your Photoshop game up. You know?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, you know, everybody here has kind of come from, you know, a spot where that wasn't a thing.
I mean, it's true. I mean, well, that's the first thing people do if they haven't heard of you. The first thing they're gonna do is go look at your numbers. I mean, so
which is a super.
You have to have good numbers, otherwise you're dead from the beginning. So,
but a lot of bookings based around that too now.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like and you know, I mean, it's the image versus talent thing. You know, and then how do you fight as being a talented individual in this, where you may not necessarily care about that. You know, you gotta stay fresh. You know, from homie to homie, but you know, on a social media level, like we understand the importance of that and creating that kind of image, and you know, where most, you know, consumers use social media to highlight their lives, you know, and only put up life highlights, and you know, whereas we have to use it like, all right, like how am I gonna kind of weave through this, you know, media madness?
For sure, and it takes a lot of time to learn how to do that well and learn what to post and more importantly what not to post.
Right, so you know, without getting, you know, too much of the ingredients of the sauce, man, you know, like we all know everybody got sauce here their own. So without getting too deep in that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's how did you build your, and how did you start?
How did you season your Instagram?
Yeah, like
how did you slow cook a little bit?
Yeah, like what did you do to start making those conscious moves in that media world and building the name as Trentino?
I mean, the big things for me were always like videos of routines and stuff, even before Thre3style, and having just maybe a little bit of virality with those. So that was kind of what built it from the beginning. And then, you know, like when you were still allowed to do like Facebook like to downloads, like that helped me build a lot. Can't do that anymore. Right. But
damn, I don't see those anymore at all. That's crazy.
Yeah, they made them illegal.
Like a few years ago.
It was a while ago. But no, I mean it's really a constant process, and you know I spent so much time building my Facebook following. Now it's useless unless you pay to promote your posts. Like now it doesn't even matter how many likes you have. It's completely irrelevant. Right. I mean, it looks cool, but nobody's gonna see your stuff unless you're paying for it. So, I don't know. Now it's like you gotta post way less, but like promote everything. Like, don't even post it if you're not gonna promote it. You wanna just make sure like everything on your page looks good and has like some numbers on it. It's just, and you know, whatever it takes to get those numbers, you kind of have to do it at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I'm just not good with this stuff, man. Like you know,
I wouldn't say that.
A lot of us would beg to differ.
At this point, you know, going back to your question, I feel like everything has its phases. I feel like everything has its phases. You know, I've been kicked off the DJ booth at major nightclubs for the guy that brought the $30,000 table, and one of them's a DJ and wants to DJ. I've been kicked off for the guy that designed all the flyers, and he showed up wants to DJ, and he's gonna DJ.
That's crazy. Like,
you know, I just feel
that's like
like
a whole different level of pay to play.
Damn, well, you could do that? If I knew that already, I would have been doing it.
What the fuck am I doing?
I would have been on
You
that.
need to all these festivals.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I just feel like
Yo.
everything has its phases, and I'm not mad at the social media guys that are at the clubs earning the money. I don't get mad at that stuff because, again, it's just going to it's a phase. You know,
Right.
It's a big phase right now, but ultimately, I mean, man, you gotta wonder. Somewhere down the line, someone's gonna be like, okay, our club sounds like shit because we booked this guy.
You would
Like,
think that would happen already, though.
Yeah,
It's been years and years and years, and it seems to be getting worse. Don't you?
When we talked about that on our last episode in particular, and
again, sorry,
Right, good.
I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them because I feel like it's just gonna phase itself out. It's just gonna phase itself out.
I don't know.
And it's been happening for a while now, though. And that's the thing.
Who is a bad? I'm not afraid to talk names. Who is a bad social media DJ that plays often? Who is a bad one?
Ooh, we gotta talk spicy now? Let's do it. Let's keep it funky. Keep it
We're
funky.
getting saucy now. That's what I'm saying.
Who's a
Like,
bad one?
What do you mean? What do you mean by bad?
Yeah, what's
Bad at
Who's the social?
media?
Who's the one
Like-
who can't social media but can't DJ for shit?
Yeah, like who's really like constantly?
Wait, you mean bad at DJing and good at social media?
marketing?
Okay.
Oh, there's probably a lot of those.
There's a lot of them.
Edit.
Oh
Damn. Oh damn.
Okay.
Ooh.
I got friends, man.
Put it this way.
They're pretty good too.
I can probably name on one hand the amount of DJs that are good at social media and that are good DJs. Everybody else is kind of either good at one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of the guys that are playing clubs that have a lot of followers but are actually really dope DJs. There's not that many.
Right.
But there are some. I mean, I'm not even talking about, like, Craze or A-Track or any of those guys. Like,
And that's what I'm saying.
guys
Is
that
like,
play...
I think that like now we're getting to a point where like the really good DJs are gonna have to that are really stepping up. Like everyone in themselves just has to do a good job in the branding of what they're putting out because
Right.
we're in a phase where I feel like the really bad social media DJs are getting weeded. They're playing like not playing that much to me.
There's still quite a bit.
There's a lot of
I-
them playing. I think there's a lot.
I think
of them
on
playing.
some level, DJing has become so easy now to do with the aid of technology that
It doesn't
you're
matter. You
basic,
feel like
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
That to the average booker, they can't tell the difference,
Right.
Or
Exactly.
or if they can tell the difference, it's not enough of a difference for it to matter.
We were talking about that, like being a consumer, let's say, going out and not even knowing what a good DJ is versus a bad DJ, and just knowing that, like, well, you're a good DJ based on your music. So as long as you play all the shit that I know, you're a good DJ. It doesn't necessarily matter how I played it. So that's the thing. I think the whole thing with the industry side of it has been happening so long that now the people that are running a lot of these spots, you know, yes, it's a money game. I get it. It's a business, right? But like at the same time, like there's no quality control in a lot of these scenarios either. And we talked about it where it went from, okay, let's worry about booking our talent and making sure the talent is good and the talent can worry about that. And yeah, we know we have to be one-man teams now. Like, we get it. We're in that era. But like the shit completely flipped where like nobody gives a fuck anymore. Like nobody cares anymore. Like nobody, like it's just like whatever. If you got big numbers, that's cool. We're gonna bring you in and like you'll bring people. And like, how do you guys feel about that? Going for what you guys have done as far as, you know, like within your career and within your career, like, you know, do you take a hit? Does it hurt your soul type shit? Or do you just like, fuck it, whatever, it's happening, so like I'm gonna just keep doing me and just keep moving through it somehow?
I mean, yeah, you just gotta keep working and doing what makes you unique and
Right.
special and valuable. And it's not gonna be the same. I mean, especially now, like DJs are getting booked for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, let's
Your reason is not
let's
the
be
same.
honest.
let's not keep Pandora's box on one page or
Hey.
so they're getting
open
booked
it.
for a lot of reasons. It's not just social media,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, but you know, and what the reason that people book me is not the same as why they would book somebody else. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, and I think that's largely due to the fact that doing the bare minimum has become really easy. So once you get to that bare minimum, then it's like, well, what's separating you? And
Right, exactly.
That's a good
Because
point.
bare minimum is so accessible
yeah.
right now to everybody.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be you need a laptop. Now you don't even need a laptop.
Yeah.
Now you need a $12 flash drive.
Yep.
Right.
And a really
You're done.
solid like
Controller.
MP3 game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And some good YouTube videos and it's all good.
And an ambulance siren.
Yeah.
Just keep it funky.
Oh, we got one of those at least every week.
Always. Shout out to Chicago Avenue, bro. You know, shout out to
Yep.
Chicago.
I would say, yeah, I find a way to just power through, like back to even back to like the numbers game and all that. Like one thing I always remained, I have to make mixes every week, so I always was like super consistent on posting mixes. Lately, I've not been, just because I have so many hats to wear, man. Like I got so much going on. Hopefully in the new year I get it all right. I've got it all written down on how I'm going to do it. But yeah, I just power through it, man. Like, power through all of that. I make sure to, again, do what I think people like me for, which is just been on my DJ stuff, man. Like, here's a good mix. Here's a good mix. Here's an awesome video. Yo, I'm going to try Thre3style because people been telling me to try it. I'm going to try it. You know, why not? You know, at this point, so I, you know, if that's gonna make me make everyone else feel like, yo, look at what he's doing. Well, I'm just doing what I think is, you know, dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. You know, don't be surprised if you don't see me in one of these DMC things. I practice. You know what I mean? Like,
Exclusive. Let's go.
It's an old saying that says aspire. You know, you're gonna aspire to inspire. You know, you're just gonna. For me, it's always been like head down, do work. I'm not really too focused on the waves. I'm not really too focused on that. I caught myself doing that really, really bad. We had a really good conversation about this in the studio a few weeks ago. Just how like at the beginning of the year, I was real like, you see how he's doing it? I want to do it like this, but like that, and like this, and like we could do it like this, we could do it like that, and then. At one point, I literally was like in my studio, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Wait, what are you talking about? Like content?
Yeah, like content and like see what this guy's doing.
Just getting lost in
Right.
just how other people are
Just
doing it.
getting lost in the wave, bro.
Yeah,
like
okay.
getting so consumed by like all of that that you lose sight of what's you. You know what I mean? Like I'm not any of this. I don't want to have a fucking photo shoot outside. I don't want to do any of that.
And that's a key thing because you lose like a uniqueness to your voice.
Correct.
Because like that's like the only time you can have a voice is probably social media. I mean, for the most part, I guess. But
The voice that they'll see and relate to immediately.
yeah, exactly.
That's
because-
the big thing.
Yo,
Oh, yeah.
It's
and
the big bridge between any artist and any consumer and any, you know, one person to the next, for sure.
And what going back to what Trenton said, at this point, you know, especially for a guy like me who does, I plan on releasing a few bootlegs to get my name out on that level. We'll see where we are. If I decide, like I don't want to be like a gimmick of this producer type of thing. You know what I mean? If I try to do that,
really now and then.
I want to have some sort of level of know-how into that. I'm not going to go into another culture of music and disrespect it by just hiring someone and putting content out.
Sure.
That's not for me.
Yeah.
It's been offered. It could have easily been done, but that's just not. So I feel like a guy who doesn't have that access of one day getting booked because I'm going to have a huge record or a record with some buzz, you can't get lost in doing what other people are doing. You have to remain credible to what you're good at. Just be what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was because I was doing it really bad. Like, I was like, I need to get my Instagram to look like this. My pictures need to be all black and white tiled. I want this shit to be like this, like that, like this. Yo, I was doing this a lot.
It was the worst thing ever.
I was doing this a lot. I got lost in that really bad, and by the time you knew it, it was April. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was April, and I was like, what have I done for 4 months? Except for say what I wanted to do based on social media trends. Nothing. I got nothing accomplished.
Yeah, you lose sight of, like, you know, what you're in it for, basically.
Correct.
So that's the key thing.
Correct.
I mean, that's also the other thing. Like, a lot of people don't really put their heart into it. You mentioned about, like, going into production. Like, you want to take the time to, like, really, like, delve into the culture. Like, and
sure.
A lot of people enter, DJing, I don't know, for, various reasons, but a lot of the times they don't really know what they're, what they want in DJing because they haven't really found that voice yet. They're just doing what everyone else is doing. Basically.
They just want to be a DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times now they've been exposed to only one version of what a DJ is.
True.
Too. I mean, that's the unfortunate part. Like,
and they're not going to learn.
I mean, growing up in Chicago, I mean, I've been here all my life. So, I mean, any house party I went to was juke and house. And, and then, I watching hip hop shit and, finding out what the DMC was and just all of that. You're just like, oh, wow. Like, there's all these different particles of DJing out there, but it's still DJing, and like all of it was dope. Like whether you were a selector or a tablist, like it didn't matter. There were just so many elements, and now it's just like being up there and playing hot shit, which is what's known to the majority, and that's where again, and we'll talk about this, the accessibility to it, but I think just the way everything is just so accessible to everybody so quickly, the age of Google and all that. It's like I could Google my fucking career path and like how to do it almost, and that's like the mentality some of these people come in with a lot of times, which sucks, but that's kind of where we're at. So I think like you said, like fads and waves and like whatever, like that shit does dwindle off, but like there will be a new one always, so like you try to, you go mainstream as much as you can in that word respectively, and not, without selling your soul out and shit. But like you're still respectively underground because the way you think is so against the grain, most of the time.
Right.
And there's a kind of beautiful balance in that. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like when you find that.
Agreed. Maybe I need to stop being more, less naive. Sometimes I'm in my own world, with. It happens when you're so consumed with family and all that other shit, the normal shit. Maybe I need to stop being so naive. I don't know. I'm not looking at it from a totally diverse eye of like, you gotta remember I'm such a nightlife guy that I'm looking at it as a nightlife guy. Are there more DJs getting booked off of social media still? Like, I'm just such a stern, like, yo, if you have your swag on point, if your shit, I've never been one to fear a guest DJ when they come in. I've never been one to be like, fuck man, this guy's gonna be really good. Like, no, bro. You
trust your own product.
You better.
Yeah.
You better. At this point, I listen to what Trent said. It was years before you don't even know the years that behind stepping into the big room go into. There was Rocky Vanders and Max Bar and like so many non-existent places that I had to venture from to learn all of that shit. And even when we thought we were ready, still weren't ready. Not just there.
Yeah.
Not just yet.
Yeah.
Right? It was a big learning process. So Whereas to everyone's like, oh my God, you're doing all this amazing shit. I'm just like, bro, I'm just fucking DJing. Nothing has changed. I'm just DJing the exact same way that I've always been doing. I just got a little bit better at it.
Sure.
And it's so important to me because that's paying dues. Like there's no example I can give other than that to me.
So to kind of round out this whole conversation, that's a great way to do it.
Sorry.
Like, no, you good shit. You know, I mean, obviously it's important. You know, like we know it's important, but and obviously by the conversations that you both have had with us today, like it was important to you having to learn that and kind of, you know, I talk about it being a slow roast process. And just to round out the conversations today, why is it important to you to have to go through those years versus just kind of jumping in and thinking like, all right, this is it. This is how I'm going to do it. Let's just fucking go with how everyone else is doing it.
Because no matter what you do in this life, you do not want to be the guy who bites off more than he can chew.
Ooh.
You don't want to be that guy.
Shit.
You don't want to be... I come from a very disciplined background. Where kids would walk into the Taekwondo gym talking all that shit. And a girl named Miranda, who used to kick like Chun-Li, would come in and give them that 1-2, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a miracle if we even saw them back in the Taekwondo class.
That's the allegory of life there. There's always a Miranda.
There's So whereas to the guest DJ comes in and does a better job than you, or you feel like he does a better job than you, and you're just comfy knowing you're going to be there next Friday, know that there's a kid like Trentino who been practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing. And when he gets that moment, it's done for you.
Yeah.
It's done for you.
I just wanted to say something. The flip side of that is all of us have talked that none of us really played clubs until we had like been in this for a number of years and felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the old like cliche saying like you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and I think that's what it is. If you try to get into a club when you're not ready and you blow it, you might think that the nightlife industry is like this massive thing throughout the world. The nightlife industry, no matter what,
they know
no matter where you are, is fucking small as shit. And people talk.
Yeah.
And if you go into a gig for your first time and you blow it,
you
might never get asked back again. So for anybody out here that's listening, if you're kind of just starting out or just getting into it, you want to make sure that you feel completely comfortable doing your shit in front of a lot of people in like a high pressure situation.
Again.
Because if you blow it, you might not ever get asked back.
Again. You don't want to be that guy or girl who bites off more than
they can chew.
You can chew.
There you go.
You best know what you're getting into. Step into the room, look around, and know what you're doing, because the shit you might have did last night might not work.
It ain't gonna work the next night.
You know what I mean? Like that's for the birds.
Yo, someone told me I'm only as good as my last set, and I'm only as good as my last blend. You know what I mean? If you take it down to that point, and I think that's a phenomenal point. You know, just you know, when I was starting off, man, I had like 3 or 4 sets with 3 or 4 different genres that I was just ready to go play, because in my eyes, nobody knew who the fuck I was. So I'm like, anywhere I go, I'm new. So like anywhere I play, no one heard this before. You know, and now I can, you know, now I can just go and play and just have fun. But definitely, there's a lot of time invested in that. Of course. What about you? Like, you know, just the importance of the dues and how you paid them and how it relates to building a career.
You know what I mean? We've been through everything. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean,
just be good at what you do and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I mean it's preparation. I don't know. A lot of people talk about like I DJ a lot and that's my practice, and maybe that works for some people. I know like Jeff always talks about how he never practiced, Jazzy Jeff.
Oh yeah,
which is.
Notorious.
I don't understand
Which I would anything because that dude's over 50 and still is better every year, every time you see Jeff, is somehow
Maybe he
doper.
doesn't consider being in the studio.
The only time he practices on stage.
No, he said he
Yeah.
never practiced.
Yeah,
He
that's
said
no
this
way.
in multiple interviews.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's like, but I don't know. But no, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You gotta prepare.
Preparation. That's the one.
I think we come from similar, like, he wasn't at the DJ meetup, but my motto to that meetup was like, yo, just put your head down, do your work,
Yep.
you know, do what you feel you're supposed to be doing, know your role. I know a lot of DJs that are to the left and to the right, and like this DJing versus that DJing, and you know, I'm not for any of that. I'm for like, what are you talking about, bro? You love music, you like to play music, you can make a career out of music. You're a DJ, be a DJ, bro. Be a DJ, and if however you make of it, dope. I'm not gonna knock you for that. I'm not one for that, bro. I'm not one for that. You know, I know wedding DJs that admire the shit out of other type of DJs, bro. I mean that when I say that. And it's crazy because I know 3 wedding DJs that consistently, when I see them, they blow my mind. They know when to drop the songs, how to drop the songs, the moment people are gonna sing the songs.
Yeah, it's a whole other.
I take swag from their wedding sets and try to implement them in how I play. So you tell me who's being real, bro. I'm not.
Yeah.
There's no level of it
Yeah.
for me.
It's all a
It's
craft.
just- it's a big pie. Is how I like to say. Like I say, it's a big pie. It's blending. It's musicality. It's turntablism. It's microphone work. It's presentation.
Yeah.
It's all of that. Turntablism. You gotta take a little bit of everything because you're gonna need to know it somehow, some way. So they're gonna test you. The moment's gonna come, and you better have paid your dues to know it.
Yeah. Where can the people find y'all at? And if anything you got coming up that you can talk about.
I want to talk about it all.
Go.
Go, man.
Trent, you first. You got all the important. You're the important guy here.
Nah.
He's doing
So modest.
It's TrentinoMusic.com. That obviously links to everywhere, but you know, all the usual Instagram, Trentino Music, Facebook, etc. It's pretty much Instagram and Facebook these days, though, honestly. I don't know. I don't have anything like super important coming up. I mean, I just came back from 5 weeks in Asia.
Flex.
wow.
I'm I don't know, decompressing and processing that still. And then, you know, obviously like January is kind of where everybody's regrouping, so we'll see what happens for next year.
Super dope. What about yourself, man?
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
You can find me at DJ Metro 16 on all of them. For those of you who don't know, I have this little thing coming out called Scratch Bars. Man, I'm so excited about
Who are
it.
your next guest going to be?
You just announced your first guest.
So,
You just announced your
so my
guest.
first guest is Jay Espinoza. Next guest is Mad Jazz, Southside of Chicago.
Nice.
I'm currently in the process of getting Strategy to film, Flipside to film, DJ Sen to film, Artists, Big Ones, and Trentino to film.
No big deal though. No big deal.
That's
On
slight list.
the way up, we've got out of city, we got DeVille out of the Club Killers crew.
Dope.
Nice.
When Miles Medina comes back, Goldie winner, he's gonna come back, bless us. I've reached out to some more heavyweights to see if they're gonna come through. I'm gonna wait for those, and yeah, I mean that's what I'm working on right now. I'm on my way to Asia. Yeah,
Hey.
I'm on my way. Shout out to Ed Roberson, my homie, always holding it down. I'm gonna be doing 12 days in Asia, and 4 or 5 clubs out there that I'm super excited about.
As you should be.
You guys said this is gonna air in a few weeks,
Yeah.
so
probably
after
New Year.
oh perfect. Okay, so then y'all heard about this new radio station, 104.3?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
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 Uh-oh. It's happening.
Exclusive.
Yo, this is like,
exclusive.
this has nobody knows about this. We
Get the air
can't
horn for this.
tweet it or anything yet, but the station's branding is going to be called WBMX, which if you guys remember,
Stop.
you know, has the original Hot Mix 5. They've decided to go with 4 DJs. The crew's going to be called the BMX 4. That crew consists of DJ Flipside. I mean, we had to steal the blood over, so we got DJ Nonstop over there. We have the legendary Julian Jumpin' Perez joining us. And of course, man, they got the young God in the mix, young Metro.
Yeah.
Yo, just another thing that I'm up to.
Congratulations. They definitely
That's
need
awesome,
some DJs
man.
now.
That's
That's
great.
big.
That's great.
That's huge.
I feel like it's
huge.
gonna be a thing that it's
Now you
that
got your
station
show.
is already. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Now you got your show.
I'm hoping that something stems from there. I've planted the seed.
No, that shit will, man. There's no way. There's a lot of people that tuned into that, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that wanted that. And
Just became the number 2 station across everything,
yes,
across the board.
yes.
Uh,
They needed the libraries and the skills, so
yeah, thank you.
hey, no, for sure. We thank you guys for coming through one more time.
Yeah.
Trentino in the building, holiday edition. You know what I'm saying? Super jolly.
Any housekeeping things?
Get the hoodies.
We
Get
got
the hoodies.
hoodies,
We
yeah.
got those adapters out.
Hoodies.
Go to djsandnotjukeboxes.com. Hit that shop. And of course, spread the word about the podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't.
But
We're out here, bro.
Man,
Peace. Peace.
Peace.